If you've ever had a great video idea, but then you didn't know what to do next, then this video is gonna be for you. I'm breaking down my entire YouTube process, from planning to editing to uploading, so you can build a workflow that actually works. So there's going to be 5 steps that you can follow to do this process. The first is going to be pre-production. The second is going to be production. The third process is going to be post-production. Step 4 is going to be the final mile. Step 5 is going to be beyond the upload. So let's get started with section number 1, production. This is where you have your video idea and you definitely want to try to keep track of those, whether that includes writing it down in a physical notebook or just keeping a running list on your phone. For me, it sort of depends where I am at the time my idea hits. For the most part, this is going to be right before I'm going to bed, or if I'm out doing an activity and a YouTube idea just pops into my head, I'm usually going to keep track of those on my phone in my notes app. And once I have a video topic that I want to actually turn into a video, I start with the packaging part of the process, which includes coming up with a couple of title ideas and coming up with a couple of thumbnail ideas, because that is going to be what brings people to your videos, is going to be the title and the thumbnail. So that's really the 2 most important things to get them to click on your video. After I come up with a couple of title ideas, I'll then move on to the thumbnail ideas, and I'll do the same process. I'll come up with maybe 2 to 3 different thumbnail ideas and a couple of text ideas that I want to put onto the thumbnail. Once I'm finished with the title and the thumbnail, I'll move on to the hook or the intro next. The process is still the same. I'll come up with a general hook idea and then I'll sometimes plug it into ChatGPT to refine it and maybe come up with another variation that might perform well for the YouTube algorithm. After the hook, I'll come up with a couple of tags. And then once I have the general layout, I will then move everything into my favorite app that I use to keep everything organized. And that is called the Milanote app. It also is the place where it basically stores all of my ideas, and it's kind of how I brainstorm the entire outline in my plan for the video that I'm trying to make. It's really helpful because it's one place that stores everything that I need to make my video. So I'll keep my A-roll ideas there, I'll keep my B-roll, thumbnail, title, script sometimes, my bullet points, that kind of stuff. And it's just in one place and it's really clear and organized. So section 2 is going to be basically bringing the plan to life. This is essentially my studio. It's my spare bedroom in my apartment. It's one area of my room. I have one wall dedicated to where I like to do my nails, one wall to where I do my actual day job work. The wall that you see behind me is actually where I film my YouTube videos. And so essentially this section of the room is built for speed and batch recording. Batch recording is exactly what it sounds like. I will set up my camera, I will set up my light. If I'm using one, I'll get my microphone and everything set up, and then I will film. Usually I find a good capacity for me for one day for batching is 2 videos for the most part. I can do 2 videos full A-roll, and then I can do the B-roll in the same day. And so it really saves a lot of time if you do batch record a couple of videos and you're not stressing yourself out trying to do a different video on a different day. I find it's easier for me to do at least 2 videos in one day just to save some time. And honestly, that really is my biggest productivity cheat code. I always film extra takes just so I have a buffer or a backup of different options to use. And this is especially true for the hook or the intro. And that just gives me options during the editing process. And if I mess up, I'll just start at the beginning of the sentence instead of starting at the very beginning of the chunk of section that I'm trying to film, because then you're just wasting a lot of time going back over everything instead of just starting at the beginning of the sentence. And while I'm filming the A-roll, I have a pretty good idea of the B-roll that I'm going to need and pretty much where I want to insert the B-roll throughout the A-roll talking head portion of my video. Why this is important is because it takes some of the pressure off. You don't have to be perfect on camera, you just need some options. And if you're new to filming, this is kind of important because it removes a lot of the stress that comes with filming. Mistakes stop becoming problems and start becoming options. This last step is really important. Before I even turn off the lights and turn off the camera, leave everything set up, and then I'll pull everything onto my computer where I will transfer files. I will organize them into folders. I'll usually do a roll and a B-roll folder, and it may take some extra time at the beginning, but it will save you so much time later and during the editing process because everything is going to be organized and it's going to be easier for you to find when you're trying to put those files into your timeline. And if you organize it now, your future self will thank you. Step 3 is going to be post-production, essentially where your story is forged. If pre-production is the blueprint, then post-production is where your house is built. And honestly, it's kind of my favorite part. And so editing starts with a rough cut. I recently discovered this fantastic app called Gling. So I will drop all of my A-roll clips into Gling and it'll do a rough cut. Now I used to do this editing step by hand and it took a lot of time. Gling is a subscription service essentially. I think I have the one that you pay $20 for it a month. But I'm telling you, it's worth the $20. I actually canceled my Hulu subscription so I could use that to put towards my Gling subscription because it's such an essential part of the editing process. I mean, it saves me so much time. It basically will cut out all your ums, your uhs, your filler words, your pauses, and it cuts it together in like 2 to 3 minutes. It is fantastic and I highly, highly recommend you check it out if you haven't already. Once I'm finished with that first rough cut, then I'll import the A-roll into my video editor software, which it kind of depends on what I'm in the mood to use. Sometimes I'll use DaVinci Resolve, which is a little more complicated. I'm still learning DaVinci Resolve. I'm more comfortable with Amora. That's just the editing software that I've been using for at least 10 years, so I'm really comfortable with that, but I'm trying to learn something new. So I highly recommend DaVinci Resolve and Wondershare Filmora, 2 great video editing software apps. And so once I cut my A-roll together, I'll put my A-roll on the timeline, and once I get that laid out, I will go back through and put in my B-roll clips that I have filmed, and I'll just, layer those over the A-roll where they go, and I think that they're gonna do well to complete the story or the idea that I'm trying to get across. And then once I put the B-roll in, I will finalize that with transitions, any special effects that I want to put into the video, subtitles, text, that kind of stuff. And that really polishes off the video and brings everything together. And at the very end, before exporting the video, I'll do a full watch through just to make sure I didn't miss anything and everything is spelled right and it's essentially how I want to upload it. And that's a really good way to just catch any mistakes that you might have missed during the editing process before you export it and then upload it. And then you watch it after you've uploaded it to YouTube and you see that you misspelled something and you have to do the whole process over. And just trust me when I say save yourself some future headache and just rewatch it before you export. All right, so step number 4 is going to be the final mile. And that kind of comes with the upload and optimization part of the process. And so your video is exported, but the work really isn't done yet. It basically comes down to your launch prep. And so since I've already filmed a couple of videos and they're edited, they're saved on my computer, I've got the title ready, the thumbnail ready, I will schedule my uploads usually a couple of weeks out. I typically upload on Sundays, and so I will, if I have 2 videos, I'll schedule out 2 weeks ahead. And that really gives me a lot of buffering time to plan the next video in my rotation. So, you know, you have a little bit of extra time for pre-production and the planning process, which really takes a lot of the stress off, I think, personally. Once I have my finished full-length video, I'll usually try to cut those down into some shorts that I'll post the week that I plan on uploading the video. So leading up to the long-form video, I'll put out a couple of shorts to go along with that. Step number 5 is going to be the last step, and that is really beyond the upload itself. Essentially, it's the growth loop. Once a video is live, the final phase really begins, and basically it's an endless loop. The first few hours of an upload are pretty crucial. That's usually when I'm in the comment section, I'm answering any questions, I'm, responding to things, answering questions, chatting, whatnot, stuff like that. And this really builds your community, and it sends out really good signals to the YouTube algorithm. And over the next few days, weeks after I post a video, I'm really diving deep into the analytics, the watch time, the retention, the viewer demographics, just to see if I can spot some patterns that I can utilize in any future videos I might make. And an app that really helps me do this, because I'm really not a numbers person or into statistics or anything like that, but there's an app called vidIQ, and it really just helps make sense of everything. It'll tell you how your title is performing, it ranks it, your video, and how it, the views and the likes and the subscribers that come from the video. It's just a really good source of information that I think is really, it's been helping me as a beginner YouTuber, because I'm really just starting out in this, but it helps me to visualize the product that I'm putting out, which is my videos. So it really helps me collect data on them. But yeah, it's really a fantastic tool for new creators. So that's it. That's pretty much my entire process, from getting a random idea driving in the car or right before I go to sleep at night, to analyzing the data from the upload weeks later. As you can see, the secret really isn't some expensive camera gear or some magical editing trick. The secret is having a process that's simple enough that you can stick with. It's repeatable. You can build on it, you can change it or modify it if anything, comes along and you need to change it later on. But it really cuts down on the boring decisions, so you can focus on your production, your editing, and your story. So you can focus your energy on being creative. And really, it's this workflow that lets me stay consistent, I avoid burnout, and hopefully I can steadily grow my channel. And really what I like about this is a process that you can build yourself. Take some of the ideas that worked for you, tweak them a little bit to fit your own style, and start building your own system. If you found this little look behind the scenes helpful, make sure you're subscribed to see more videos about growing on YouTube. And I've got a question for you. What's the single biggest challenge that you've faced when you're creating your own content? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them, and your answer might just be my next video. Thanks for watching, and now go make something.